If you would have to switch career right now, what would you choose different than what you do? What would be?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Personally, I don't see myself doing nothing else than founding stuff. So just
Thank you
building
so
stuff.
much. Man, once you do this, you cannot do something else. When you're in your 20s, you have no obligations, no pressure. Even the parents are there present next to you. It's the best time to try playing with your ideas, fail fast, learn from it, do something else. That's something we have to work in our culture because we stop very early and not necessarily when we fail, when we have our first disappointment. That experience unlocked a new version of myself.
You started to believe in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So when you came to Eastern Europe, this mindset, this attitude of believing in yourself, it's instantly saw as a counterfeit, imposter.
Yeah. Rarely I've been evaluated on my own. Most of the time, I think 60-70% in team context.
I think you struck a chord here because one of the things that we don't know how to do in Eastern Europe is collaborating.
I think outsourcing is the present, is not the future. It's a good step in growing our environment, but I do believe we are innovators and we can create products.
In my opinion, it's like the biggest overlooked part of the globe, but with huge potential, Eastern Europe.
I believe we have a lot of talent, and even that talent doesn't know they can build this.
Super happy to have you for another episode of Startup Talks podcast by Make IT in Oradea. Today we have, I think, the first ecosystem builder as a guest into our podcast, Vlad Gliga. Vlad, I have an interesting question for you that we'll kind of try to ask everyone during this third season. What truth or what belief do you have and very few people agree with you on?
Yeah, I think I would refer more to the past years, to the moment when we started. In the early days, what I was believing.
That was 7 years ago?
7 years ago officially, but 9 years ago. So 9 years ago, I got back to my hometown, to Piatra Neamț, with this mission to change how people think, act, collaborate, build things. Because in that time, I was reading many articles about how much money we are attracting in Romania from the European Union as grants funds. But I believed if we don't invest in the human capital, those money are not going to help too much. We are going to burn them and not being able to multiply or being able to use it in a productive way for the future. So what I believed at that time, and it was something that I was not agreeing with many people. I totally believed we have in Romania the people that are able to be crazy enough to improve life of people worldwide, to be the innovators that the world needs. And as crazy as it sounds today, it was much crazier at that time. And I was referring also to startup founders as part of the innovators that I believe we have them in Romania, or at least we have the potential and we have to unlock that potential. And when I first mentioned around in my group of friends, partners, that I'm going back to Piatra Neamț and starting working on something that would help future entrepreneurs, especially startup founders, the question was, why would you go there? Because there are no startup founders. Why would you do this? And because they are not existing, it's exactly the reason I was willing to build it. Because I believed in the potential of the Romanians and of the Eastern Europeans. Living abroad, you can notice very well where there is potential and perseverance, resilience, hard work capacity in people. And I've met many successful entrepreneurs and business people coming from the Eastern Europe, but successful in Western Europe or in US, not necessarily back home. And I knew also another thing. Romania gave innovation worldwide that we talked to less about it. And yes, it didn't happen in the last decades, but it happened before. We gave the insulin, the fountain pen, the airjet, even the catapulting cockpit. Anti-aging cream was first time done here. And the list continues. If you look up for innovation built in Romania and innovators, you'll see a full list of names in areas that you would not think we've been there. Medical engineering, home use, name it, you'll find something there. Even the hyper CD-ROM was invented by Romania. I was amazed to see that. Even the 3D movies was patented by a Romanian. Even though the 3D was invented before, but in the movie industry, it was done by a Romanian. So knowing all these facts, seeing those positive examples abroad, I knew we have it in our DNA, in our core, to build up global innovation. When I came back, I felt I'm alone in talking about it and believing in this. And that was the crazy fact. And that is what actually gave the wings in building all this. Knowing and being sure about this truth, I knew it's a sure bet, whatever I'm getting into, building the way for Romanians to become innovators and build solutions for the global problems.
But was this belief, I don't know, based on, you mentioned some of the reasons.
Yeah.
But was it something like, more like something it was just a belief, or it was something, okay, yes, I know, we see a context, we see something, and this is more, I know it's more like a philosophical questions, but I think it's very important because many times when you talk with people about crazy ideas like these beliefs, they believe you are crazy, or they don't believe that it can be done because they expect you to come with some hard facts.
True. Yeah.
But when you have the hard facts, I think it's too late.
That's exactly the answer. So if you have that truth that only you believe in it, or just a few, then you don't have the facts to prove it to the others, but you have to strongly believe in it. And my fact, my truth that made me believe in it was my personal experience. I don't consider myself an innovator or a special gifted person, but here I go, a shy student coming from Iași, freshly graduated the university, but confused with what I'm going to do in life. I landed by luck in US, purely by luck. I just joined the program, and here I was in USA. And that experience unlocked a new version of myself. So I've met a new Vlad in just 2 years. And not necessarily the technical knowledge I gained there, but what I learned I can do by believing in myself and believing in high goals and in dreaming high. Just that made me a better person in relationship with myself, but also with the people around. So that experience, without it, definitely I wouldn't be in this position. Definitely I wouldn't build what I'm building today. So it was myself growing up in Romania with 20 years of life experience here, and a nice touch and thin touch of 2 years in a different environment where people are focused in helping you discover yourself. Helped me meet a different person. So since then I started to ask myself, why these simple things are not happening back home. I always refer to back home in my mind, in my hometown, in my university. Then later on, a few years later, I went for an MBA in Denmark, and same things were happening. Positive experiences given in that community of great people. But for them was something basic to help each other, to share among themselves the opportunities, to discuss about a common growth, both in the educational environment, so at the university, both also in the business environment or in the society. People were consulting each other, brainstorming. It's first time when I experienced having a mentor. That happened in Denmark. So the program gave me an entrepreneur as a mentor, and it was first time meeting someone with high-level professional experience, giving time to me for free.
Wow.
And I wouldn't even
sounds so basic, actually.
Exactly. Yeah, I wouldn't even use for free. That doesn't exist in the mentoring world and in a community spirit for free. It's just something you do it because it's an exchange that empowers both person and people, and everyone has something to learn and gain out of that relationship. But for me, it was the first time.
After all of these things that you saw, after these 7, 8, 9 years of experience, what's holding us back? I mean, we can I don't know, have multiple, mindset, capital, talent, courage, something else. Where do we start?
All the above, probably in that exact order. We all know we've been through a period of time when we've been taught to become individual and rely on our own, not necessarily on someone else. Being a person that thinks and it's trying to find solutions was something that was considered being against the society. So that was not encouraged. On the contrary, was punished.
And also, you said that after spending 2 years in the US, you started to believe in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So when you came to Eastern Europe, not just Romania, I spoke with you also, Hungarians, Bulgarians, Poland, Polish people, so on and so forth. This mindset, this attitude of believing in yourself, it's instantly saw as a counterfeit, imposter.
Yeah, exactly. But when I came back, I saw it with different eyes. And when I saw the regular reactions that I would have met before, now in my head I knew something that I cannot explain to you, but I know something new that I've experienced and I know about it. But I don't believe that something is impossible today, even for Romanians to believe in themselves and build things that would get global. I believe that is possible. And I had to defend that. And I'll give you some funny examples. So that time when the previous regime, the communist regime, imposed some behaviors that were not necessarily encouraging innovation, collaboration, thinking big, thinking outside the box. What is that? You would have been put in a box if you dare to think outside of the box. Now we are living the effects of that. But I know before that, we had all those innovators I just mentioned. And that innovation happened in a short time frame of 50 years. All the innovation I just mentioned earlier. If we would have continued that path, definitely would have been far away. Not necessarily stopped. We actually went back ages. Now we have to recover from that. But again, we have the potential, and we are the same people. In my opinion, more experienced, more prepared to be resilient, to observe what's missing around us at the human level, societal level, more than other countries better developed. So this is where I believe we can bring that difference in the world and that innovation, where struggling societies are having a different experience than the economies that thrived for the last decades. And I have some other thoughts coming from there. I believe we will look much more into solutions going into sustainability, education, core needs that we have in this geographical space.
Okay, 'cause this is something that we also talk talk a lot here in Oradea also. It's like, okay, should we niche ourselves on, I don't know, one industry, one category, something? So do you have anything like for the region, for as an, I don't know, national level? Where do you see Eastern Europeans, Romanians excelling?
In Europe, there are 3 verticals in top trends right now. And you have fintech, enterprise software, energy sector, are areas where more startups are coming, where a higher concentration of startups are coming. And that applies also for Eastern Europe. But in the same time, we are an early ecosystem, the Eastern Europe as a whole. And we started in a normal way. We started with general inspiration to start doing something. Then we started to have a couple of people daring to become founders. That number increased. And we are still in the phase where we have to inspire more people to embrace this lifestyle and career opportunity to become an entrepreneur. Yeah. Until you have relevant and a decent number of startups in each vertical, it's hard to specialize on that vertical.
That's exactly what I also believe and tell to people I'm discussing with. If we niche too early, it's super dangerous.
Yeah. For us, the enablers, it's hard to explain how hard it is to be general.
Yeah.
People believe we do it because we don't know too much.
Yeah.
But it's so hard to know everything.
Yep.
When you work in so many sectors, you have to understand every sector. You have to have mentors in each sector. You have to work with investors from each sector. You have to have clients in each sector. So as diverse you are, as much work you have to do. And that's the cruel reality.
10 times easier to have just one.
Exactly. So yes, for us, it's easier and more efficient and less effort to have focus. And everyone recommends to have focus. We want to have focus. But in the same time, to work with 1 or 2 startups that you have in a vertical, it's not efficient and it's not part of building the ecosystem, what we do on a daily basis. So right now, we get the front runners we have and we try to help them grow in order to create the future generation of successful founders, successful businesses that will finance and return the profits back to the ecosystem by investments they do, by hiring people, investing in R&D, so on and so forth. Also investing in startups directly. And not least, they will inspire other generations of future entrepreneurs. So we started with a cohort of 20 people. The next one brought other 20. These 40 became a group of mentors for the new generation of founders. And we do that, you do that, we all do that. But working with startups and expecting results is like a funnel. You have to put many people or a lot of numbers in order to have the percentage of success. So until we niche and narrow down the people we work with, we still have to do this work of building the ecosystem and inspiring as many people to embrace this career.
How do you see the thing that sparked the US technical revolution? It was many things, but the one that put like gas on the fire was like the creation of the venture capital. I mean, without the venture capital schemes, you couldn't have had all the companies, almost all the companies that we have today in the tech sector. I think I heard the general partner at Sequoia saying that only Sequoia, half of the value of the New York Stock Exchange, it's produced by companies in which Sequoia invested in the last, 50 years or so. So how is that currently in Eastern Europe? How do you see it developed? Where should we go? Who should we attract? Because this is something that I also see. It's like very few big names, at least looking into this part of in my opinion, it's like the biggest overlooked, part of the globe, but with huge potential, Eastern Europe. A lot of investors from US and mostly US looking in, Asia, Africa, Western Europe, and just flying over Eastern Europe. What do you think about this?
You're very right. US is ahead because they had the capital earlier, and they had those people believing that this can be a future for themselves to become wealthy, but also for the space where they were acting. They saw that truth, right, before others did. But also in the same time, US created earlier successes, entrepreneurial successes. And what I just mentioned earlier, there were early generation of entrepreneurs inspiring others, returning back the capital in the ecosystem where they started from. And that is what puts US on top of the list with in terms of number of unicorns given globally. Startups are following markets, the space where the clients are, and the capital.
Yeah. And sometimes even capital first and then...
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the right way to do it, but it's happening.
Yeah. Ideally is to have the money
if it's the right type of capital, it also opens the market for you.
Exactly. Yeah. You should connect the two. You should focus on the market where your clients are and look for capital in that space because you get the network and connections. But this is a different topic. Ideally is to get the investment from your clients. So rely on the money coming from your clients. But usually you follow that.
Yeah.
Eastern Europe is on a positive trend, I would say. Looking in the last couple of years, the value of VC money invested is doubling year on year, which is extremely positive as a trend. Yeah. The amount is not that encouraging, but the trend it is, in my opinion. And if you look in other environments, you don't see this rate of growth, wherever you look in Western Europe or in the US. In the same time, the number of startups is growing. Number of startups is attracting capital, right? And the capital is going to come here and more startups are going to rise. So I'm confident in the trends we're having. 7 years ago, it was hard to discuss about investments, maybe more about angel investments, but then you had the first VC, a second, and now you have a total value of around 200 million euros invested. I think last year was around this value. And this is still continuing. There will be some new entries in the VC space in CE and focusing on Romania as well. But it's growing year on year and usually is doubling. I believe in Eastern Europe, it's a matter of proving that we have this capacity of building innovation for the world in business models that are scalable and by teams that can become unicorns in a relevant time frame, 7 to 10 years. Once we have the track record of that, more capital is going to come. Now we have the early adapters, or you have the AIF, or you have the local LPs believing in this ecosystem. But I'm sure in the next 10 years, you'll have the large investors way present in this space as well, where this market of investing is going to get more unified globally.
But isn't that a bit too slow? I'm just asking. It's like a curiosity of myself. Like, we know all this, like taking the stairs instead of the elevator. But isn't that a bit dangerous because we also compete on a global level? Anyway, the biggest product that Romania and Eastern Europe in general exported in the last 20 years was human capital.
True.
So I think we are also on a race against the clock. So anything that we can do to accelerate this, to take a shortcut or something, that would actually start making Romania and Eastern Europe a magnet for founders. And one of the things I'm thinking about, just something that pops into my mind while discussing with others, is that still Eastern Europe has a very good life quality. So I don't know what's your take on this? Because it's also related to this like chicken and egg problem. Like, do we wait for the startups? I mean, startups attracts capital attracts startups. Which one we should maybe focus? Yeah, we should focus on both. But like, if we can get more capital, wouldn't that help us raise more and faster startups? I don't know.
I would focus more in creating local startups from Romania and Central Eastern Europe, not necessarily on creating programs for bringing startups from other parts of the world here.
Okay.
That was a strategy that happened in other environments. I would count on that as well. I would include that as well. We talk about it in the ROStartup project. But I believe we have a lot of talent here, underlooked. And even that talent doesn't know they can build this. We just have to bring them to spotlight in the right environment where they understand who they are and what they can do. I'm patient. We have to be patient, but we also have to work hard in bringing more people on the stage of pitching their ideas, their crazy ideas, encouraging them to think crazy, to dare to change the way things are in various industries, no matter what industry it is. We know very well that everything is impossible until someone is doing it, right? If more of us would believe that, I'm sure in this geographical space we have so much potential and sleeping unicorns.
How do we unlock that?
It's a great thing what you do on a daily basis. You had today a conference here that brought people together from Romania and abroad, encourage startups to consider fintech as an industry to develop their ideas. You have programs, startup programs, early stage, and those are the great programs to happen in Romania and Eastern Europe now, to get from idea to an MVP. We should focus more on that. We should include that in schools, in early ages. I believe we come too late in people's life. If we work with graduates or professionals, we should be earlier in their life. A comparison to the US, when I was there, I could see kids 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old selling lemonades in front of Walmart. Is where their entrepreneurial career starts, 5 years old. Yeah. Imagine we have students at 18, 20, playing with the idea of entrepreneurship. They lost 15 years.
Yeah.
But right now things are changing. I see more programs in schools encouraging young kids to consider selling something, no matter what it is. A painted napkin, a handcraft necklace, anything that is built by their own hands, by their own mind, and it's sold for something, even a penny. If we scale these type of programs and mindset, and we encourage the current generation of children to work on and give time to it, you will have the future generation of founders that will disrupt industries globally.
One of the trends that I know some people are starting to see, or at least I know, it's this trend of like markets starting to consolidate, and you have less companies in each sector and bigger. Like you have one sector with 3 huge companies that acquire all the others. Isn't that something that maybe in the future it will make the entrepreneurial path something even more and even harder to enter into? And I don't know how we can deal with it.
So you're referring to merger and acquisition that is happening by
I mean,
the major players in any industry.
Yes. And you have fewer players and bigger players, and that's making the barrier to entry higher for newcomers.
Yeah. I have a personal experience and example here in Romania that I can refer to, and I think it's representative for the space where we're coming from. So Digital, this wonderful startup with wonderful founders, grew in US in a time where their competitors were acquired one by the larger group of companies in the space of vet care. And the opportunity came exactly from this trend. They remained the single independent player, all the other ones being acquired. You would have given your data to larger players, and then suddenly digital clients believe it is more secure and safe for their business to work with someone that is independent and not necessarily part of a larger group. That was the cost of opportunity, or the opportunity that helped them grow. And why I say that is representative, because I see many Eastern founders, Romanian founders, not necessarily interested in doing their exit early, selling early. They want to go all the way till the final success, and they look directly to IPO and more. They dream to become the CEO of the unicorn, hiring thousands of people and dealing with plenty of markets. In the talks we have with the current founders, probably a very small percentage, insignificant percentage, are considering doing their exit earlier. All the other ones want to go all the way till IPO and more. Probably that comes from our mentality of having ownership and being there present. But again, I think here is going to be a difference of founders coming from Eastern Europe and others. So I think there will still be companies willing to build, even though they will have offers on the table to sell and be acquired by the larger groups. Yes, that can be an issue or not. It's a free market. Every large company is growing with the small ideas. Especially in the last years now, the large companies decided to quit on their R&D teams and budgets, and they go and acquire from outside the innovation. They don't necessarily spend money internally because they compare the results when they spent internally with...
And we all know how corporate innovation works. So
Exactly. So they went outside, and a fraction of the budget they used to acquire innovation from outside. That is a good opportunity for us as well, because we can work with those companies and they can become players in growing ecosystems. Because they support you, your programs, they support other programs, because they want to be close to the innovation. And they want to introduce themselves in a friendly way to founders and eventually do deals with them, which is fine. I believe that's the right way to do, and it's a free market. But what the change is, and that's a positive fact, they also contribute by investing in the ecosystem. You had global names as sponsors and partners in your program here, and that is something new. 7 years ago, it would have been very hard to find a sponsor for a program unless it was a local company believing in you and believing in the mission locally. And
it was that kind of friends, family, and
other fools.
Yes. I also want to believe that. I want to believe that the future of entrepreneurship, it's something that will be even more easier and open for people, because a lot of other career path will become, in my opinion, more and more commoditized.
I promise I'll tell a funny story.
Please.
And
Please.
I think this is a good moment to share it. In the early days, before Rubik Hub, when I was trying to understand the ecosystem, I went for a large meeting in Iași. And it was a meeting involving the universities, I think local authorities, and the tech people. And the discussion was about the future of Yash.
Okay.
Where should Yash focus?
Was the local government present?
I think they were,
Okay.
part of, them were there. And the discussion went to supporting, investing as university, as local authority in attracting more outsourcing companies. And that was presented by people from the entrepreneurial environment, that this is the future. And everyone was very happy with this trend. And I was a bit puzzled because we saw only till this finish line. And I had an intervention and I said, I think outsourcing is the present, is not the future, is a good step in growing our environment. But I do believe we are innovators and we can create products. We can outsource final products from here and not just people, labor, and I still consider it low-paid jobs, even though at that time was considered a tremendous career to get into the IT and working in the outsourcing. It's a good starting point. It's a good starting point for a person, for an individual, for a growing company, for a city that attracts initial companies locally. But for the future, for a society, I think it is important to be able to innovate all the way. And this way you keep yourself competitive, economically speaking, at global level, especially today when we work in a global environment. Now things changed, and the focus is going a lot towards entrepreneurship, building companies that are building products here, and we're not just part of a mechanism, global mechanism, where you're just doing tiny things. And I think that is understood now also by the universities, by the authorities, and I see more and more interventions and programs trying to encourage building final products in Romania. And this is what makes me happy and proud of how we grew as an ecosystem in the last years.
You mentioned the university, we mentioned the corporates, government. Who's responsible for the growth, or who should be responsible for the growth of the... I mean, it's not like, I don't know, just saying, okay, someone didn't do his job. But again, who do you think it's... Because we say, maybe most of us say, okay, the university should be the one. I know the private sector is not doing what it should, because I know there is a lot of people that are just not, I know, moral enough, or they are not building the right type of... But who's responsible for inspiring people to become entrepreneurs and supporting them? Is it whose job should be?
It's only one word. And usually when I get a challenge, a problem that is a larger scale and it's hard for me to understand, I try to bring it to a smaller scale. To give example, a smaller scale that I can understand.
Yeah.
And I have something that I always keep it in my mind. It takes a village to grow a children. So in the village, everyone should have been involved in the growth of the village. And same thing should happen when you scale this up. So it's us who are responsible. And when I say us, I don't want to stay in a general space. I know you like specific things. It's us as parents. It's us as professionals. It's us as civilians present in a society. It's the civil society, is the government, is the education, is the entrepreneurial ecosystem, and they should work all together. And I know it sounds general, but we should at least have the framework in mind and try to get as close as possible to this. It's hard to pinpoint to someone unless it's yourself. I believe you should start with yourself, the change you want to see happening. And it's hard to expect for someone else to do it unless it's a group that is homogeneous, I think is the word, and representative for each part of the society. If we have to grow the entrepreneurial mindset and ecosystem, the education should start in the family, super early, giving confidence. From when you try to encourage a child to start walking, you tell them, come on, you can do that. Of course you can do that. If the child bumps her head, it's fine. We still have to walk, right? We can give those type of encouragements. But then later on, when we start being evaluated at school, and you do mistakes, you've been punished for that. You are not encouraged to do another mistake once again. Sometimes I meet my children at dinner, and I ask them, what mistakes did you do today? But not with that face, what mistakes did you do today? It's, what mistakes did you do today? Tell me one. For tomorrow, please prepare one. Tell me something new you've tried and you failed. It's hard even for me. I'm coming from the same culture that I'm trying to change. I've been taught in the same culture. And I do that trying to be aware that I want my children to test, to try, to fail, because this is the way they grow. And I force myself to do those things. It's not coming naturally. But if we do that, the next generation of children, it's going to be easier to teach the future generation of their children to risk more, embrace failure. Of course, not putting your life in danger and not creating risks, but it's okay to try painting if you like, if you're a technical mind. Try that. See how it works. Or the opposite. If you're an artist, try to deconstruct an engine. Just play with that for a couple of days. See how you feel. Learn out of it. Then you go to school. You are being evaluated always against the other people, not necessarily in teams, not necessarily in groups of people. I remember at the school I did in Denmark, rarely I've been evaluated on my own. Most of the time, I think 60-70% in team context.
Wow.
So evaluation was in team, by the professor and by the team. So it was a 360 degrees.
Wow.
And I could better understand who I am in that context. Also, that system doesn't put you against other people. If you're compared with another person, you're not building positive thoughts for that person.
Absolutely.
Right?
It's the individualistic way.
Exactly.
And I think you struck a chord here, because one of the things that we don't know how to do in Eastern Europe, it's collaborating. It's working together.
Yeah.
And there are statistics about, I think the second reason why startups fail, it's because the co-founders are not working together.
Exactly.
The differences, the whatever.
Exactly. That's why we're called Rubik Hub, because I saw that Rubik Cube scrambled, and I believe people are hiding on different faces without willing to talk with people with similar hobbies, interests, or not even knowing they exist. And it was hard to bring them together on the same color, on the same page, in the same space. It was very difficult at that time. They were scared of sharing, of even listening, of their ideas be stolen, or crazy things that were being expressed by them. Nowadays, everyone found the beauty in collaboration and in being part of a community, and how much growth you can have at individual level by being part of a community where you also contribute, you give back, and you receive 10 times, 100 times more than what you invested.
This thing, individual grading, it's killing us.
There you go.
It's because when you do it in teams, you have to make sure that everyone is playing their part. So you have to make it work.
You are present in the ecosystem, not just in your own shoes.
Yep. And that's life.
Exactly. So, as I said, that change should start with everyone. It should be us in every role we have. If we expect a legislation to happen, it's very probably is not going to be adopted by the people if the people are not prepared to go and embrace that legislation. So the work should be both ways, bottom up and top down.
Yeah.
A positive example in Romania is the work in building this startup ecosystem. It started bottom up. That means it is started by knowledgeable people, super motivated, willing to go the extra mile, and keen to see a positive change in Romania. Not necessarily a financial return, or not today. If we have also the intervention from the top down, coming and meeting us in the middle, where legislative changes are happening to encourage more entrepreneurs to start, to exist, to build, to stay in Romania and continue and grow their business, I think this is what is going to put Romania not just on a global startup map, but in a much better situation economically speaking, culturally speaking. We are not going to have brain drain. We are not going to rely on money from outside, because we are going to be able to create our own money and our own jobs, and we can create the future we actually dream to have. And this is a proactive position we can have. Going back to the story I just mentioned earlier, when things are coming towards you and you just embrace them, doesn't put you in an active position. It's a passive position that usually doesn't last. So yes, outsourcing is good, but it's good until you are also a good whale in that mechanism. When you're not going to be, that disappears. What are you ready for doing at that moment? How are you going to continue from that moment? And that was the question I was addressing at that time.
You have no control.
You have no control, exactly. If you invest in your mind, in your self-confidence, in your values, very important, because I think it's not just about being smart and bold and courageous. It's also about having the right set of values in order to build the good stuff. But I do believe we have those.
Knowing to what to say no.
True. Yes, exactly. Again, coming back to your question, everyone in the society can contribute to a better future. I wouldn't get into.
I think everyone should.
ideally, but at least those ones that we can do that. Let's do it.
Yep. Tell us a bit about what do you think it's ROStartup's role in all of this context.
So,
why?
You know that ROStartup today is actually a bunch of people. It's nothing more than that.
Yeah.
We are not even a legal entity just between us. We're working on that. But we're a bunch of people. And those people are the builders, initial builders that believed Romania can become an environment where our children can become entrepreneurs and become successful entrepreneurs, and they can build businesses that would be present all over the world. And we work, each and one of us, on a daily basis in activities related to startups. And the good part is, against the odds, from the early days, we came together to collaborate and share resources. We helped each other in what we do, because our business models are not sustainable, and we had to rely on each other and support each other in order to survive as entities and the activities we're having. We are forced to work on low budget, but that we are forced by our own beliefs and our motivation to build these things, right? No one is forcing us, just to be clear. And out of this collaboration came the question, what can we do better for us and for this ecosystem? What depends on us? What doesn't depend on us and depends on other people, other entities, other institutions. And out of those questions and friendly discussions we had, we realized the hard part was done to get Romania on this trend of creating and launching startup founders. I think we are there where now we have enough founders pitching their ideas and willing to build on them all the way in with all it takes. So right now the idea is how we help them grow and how we help them grow as long as possible in Romania. And when we started to address these questions among each other, we realized that they have reasons to leave the country, basic, simple reasons that we can fix it in a second. If we have the government involved next to us to help us with better legislation, better programs in schools, better facilities for any entrepreneur, startup, tech startup or not necessary, that would encourage more startups to survive, and grow in Romania. Romania is doing good in terms of how many legal entities are open per year and how many businesses are open, but just a small percentage of them are actually built from the beginning to scale, to solve global problems, to sell their products and their solutions internationally. And that is the challenge. And this is where I would look into. And here is where we want the government to be more present in creating those programs, not for creating more jobs, but for creating higher value businesses that deliver higher value products and solutions. And this is how we are going to create the next economy for Romania. We have companies that are growing. The old companies are being competed by other international companies. Very soon we are risking to lose our entrepreneurial environment unless we create the new generation of entrepreneurs. And we have to invest a lot there because the global competition is coming.
It's harsh.
And it's harsh, exactly. So we have to work on this together and fast. And I think I have only one thought I want to share now, and that kills me. If the government, one person, we don't need many, would understand the value in building the mindset, the culture that would create more entrepreneurs and would embrace this mission, is going to be a successful politician, a successful human, and a successful citizen, yes, hero, I would say, that needs no campaign in the future and no one to support, but just his or her facts in front of the population. You just have to understand the value in building the mindset and the education for the next generation of children that will become entrepreneurs. And the good part is we are ready to give all the details about it. We worked so hard to put on the table the exact plan.
We have the plan.
Exactly, it's there.
Yep.
It's there, and it's so simple. I think you'll put links, right, to the plan.
Absolutely. How would you pitch to, I don't know, a wannabe founder in Romania, in Eastern Europe, to actually go towards this path of entrepreneurship? And I don't know, what opportunities would you emphasize for them here?
If you would have to switch career right now, what would you choose now? Something different than what you do. What would be?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Personally, I don't see myself doing nothing else than founding stuff. So just
Thank you
building
so
stuff.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm getting goosebumps. Man, once you do this, you cannot do something else.
No.
The value of education, the value of people you meet in this industry, you cannot compare it to anything else. You know that this is the exact education, this is the exact school, this is the exact business everyone should dream to be part of. there is no other reality or other truth. And we know it very well. There is no experience in this life to help you better understand who you are, what you can do, and no better environment to learn in a practical way everything that works in life. Because in the startup world, you learn about the medical environment, engineering, financial sector, name it. When you become a founder, you learn all the sectors in a business: marketing, sales, logistics, acquisition, financial. You learn everything. But everything looks so simple after some years because you learning by doing. You have all these mentors ready to give you tiny pills of information and education. You have all these web sources where you can learn from. It's the perfect school I would attend. And I actually attend, and you do it as well on a daily basis. And I never get tired of. And I wasn't the best student in school. I have to admit that. I wasn't in the top. But now I realize I was bored, and I was not challenged enough in the way that worked for me. Right now, it's hard to say you have time for yourself in the startup world, but I enjoy so much what I do that I don't see myself in doing something else. I wouldn't encourage my children to go pursuing other careers before trying this. Until you are 25, 28, explore. Don't go in a mission to find your career for the next decade of your life. Explore.
Or there's an even worse option: optimizing for money in those first years. This is I keep telling to graduates, because this is the mentality. Where would I get more money from? Doing that or doing that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a killer in my opinion.
It is. And here I have so many things to say. We even have a program for that, where we try to teach you to think and look in yourself to see what you love to do and not what make you rich, because you have time for that later on. But you cannot come back to the sponge stage of your brain. That is until 20-something, when the information should be various, diverse, the experience should be the same in order for you to gain as much as possible that you will deploy it later on. Leave the dream of becoming rich for later on, when it's meant to happen. Don't do it. Don't do it early. Look to your passion and to what you believe in. And in order to understand your passion and what you believe in, you have to explore. You have assumptions, but go and explore them, validate, invalidate, try something else. Give yourself the freedom of living this life by having experiences that are challenging you in the same time as are feeding you. When you're in your 20s, you have no obligations, no pressure from the society. Even the parents are there present next to you. It's the best time to try playing with your ideas, fail fast, learn from it, do something else. That's something we have to work in our culture, because we stop very early, and not necessarily when we fail, when we have our first disappointment.
Oh yeah.
We don't even have to fail.
Yeah.
We don't get there.
We don't know what failure means.
Exactly.
We just know what disappointment means.
Exactly. Yeah. In US, if you go to analyze the successful startups, you will meet founders that failed at least, the average is 4 times.
Wow.
So the 5th startup is successful in average. You would say that the average age of a founder is 20-something, because we have the example of, yeah.
And it's actually around 40, I think.
40 plus. Yeah, 40 plus. Warren Buffett became millionaire after 50. So we have wrong perceptions about when we should start things, when we should have results, and we put that pressure on us, and we don't start because it's not for us. It's not meant to happen to me.
Yep.
But yes, try to experience to better understand yourself and what you want to do in life. And startup world is, in my opinion, a great experience to try at least try it.
Yeah, definitely. This is something I also pitch to everyone. It's like, at least do it once in your lifetime.
Exactly.
It's not for everyone,
Yeah.
but it should be tried by everyone.
Exactly. And it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. Join one of these programs and you'll see how much fun it is.
Yeah.
And I haven't met a person that tried, have been a program, failed with the idea, but not being so grateful for the entire experience.
How many
And
people have you helped through your programs until now?
I'm not exaggerating. Over 4,000 people.
Wow.
I'm not exaggerating. So no matter what happened in the end, and of course the success rate when you talk about startups that received investment, it is low. But the success rate in better understanding who you are, what you can do, is 100%. You go a better entrepreneur, you go a better person in any environment you go. After you try an experience of building a startup, no matter if you fail from a technical point of view or not.
And just to add to your thoughts, for everyone, it's like the opportunities to do this are right there.
Exactly.
I know my story since I was a student, I wanted to go into entrepreneurship. I had different startup ideas, but I had no support.
Yeah.
No support. I had just had one mentor that tried to help us somehow, but you didn't have programs, you didn't have incubators, accelerators, nothing.
Yeah.
Now you have them. It's there in Piatra Neamț, in Oradea, in Cluj, in Timișoara, in Bucharest. It's right there. We have better know-how, we have better capital, we have better access to people, networks, and so on and so forth.
I'm looking to how many programs are being launched in Romania, helping startups, and I see new programs coming on and on. I see new cities being more present, so you have no excuse.
Yeah.
Definitely have in your city right now something that is happening.
Yeah.
Or 100 kilometers around,
Yeah.
there is someone that is doing something for,
And
for that.
as someone told me a couple of years ago, it was like, yeah, but Silicon Valley, there the things are happening and blah blah blah. A ticket to Silicon Valley costs, I don't know, $600, something like that. If you are so disappointed about everything around you here,
Yeah.
okay, don't use that as an excuse.
Yeah.
Buy a ticket and go to Silicon Valley.
We've just done that this year. So we took 12 startups. We went to Silicon Valley to see how it is.
Yep.
We made it happen. We've met investors. It's possible. It's doable.
Yep.
You don't have to be there. You can be here and scale there when it's necessary.
Yep.
Just start. Just play with.
How can we? This is one of the questions that is bothering me, and I also asked not you, the EU commissioner at the event we've been a couple of weeks ago. How can we keep more talent and more startups in Romania and in Europe in general in the coming years? What should we do? Because so many of them are just born here and they just fly away.
Yeah, as we mentioned earlier, they follow the markets and the capital. It's hard to keep them here. You have to take in consideration that at some point they have to go. The question is, how can you help them stay longer here?
Or even maybe tweaking the question a bit. How can we capture more of the value they create, even if they are not they don't have the headquarters here? Because one thing that I love UiPath and their story is amazing, and I'm super happy that they did what they did. It's an amazing branding for Romania and Eastern Europe in general. But I know maybe it's something that it's just personal and maybe I don't know all the facts. But one of the things that I'm a bit disappointed about is that the value that they created was not so much poured back into our ecosystem. And yes, you can say, okay, but they grew after they went to US and blah, blah, blah. Still, how can we do that better?
I'm sure we can solve that by having a group talk, and there are many ideas. But my own ideas are, as European Union, you are a massive mechanism that can become an adapter of the tech solutions developed in Europe. Also in Romania, we use, or we should start using more digital products. Consider the ideas and the solutions coming from Romania first, and be open to be pitched and be presented. Show interest in that, create a national program for that. We have to digitalize almost everything. We are still pen and paper in so many activities. Yeah, go to a city hall and you realize how bad the need is. We have those solutions in Romania for sure, 100%. Whatever it is, whatever need you have, we have that solution. And you know it, I know it, we work with them. But it's so hard to get them even in a meeting with authorities. Universities are, again, a large mechanism that can integrate the solutions that are happening, being developed inside their premise and also in the country. That is one way. So adopt earlier solutions that are being developed in your environment. I very often hear incentives and benefits given for companies to come and land in your space, companies that are coming from outside. Why not creating those benefits for companies starting from here? Yeah. So give incentives to companies that, yes, have their headquarters in US, but they have their operations here. Help them to have a more efficient P&L by incentivizing the fact they keep people here, they keep activities here, and invest in that way. You don't have to give them something, but at least ask in return something that is incentivized somehow. Yeah, less deductions, less taxes they have to pay for whatever investments they make. These are some quick ways. Also, we talk about in ROStartup about a fund of funds. Give access to capital. Or better than that, let the capital given by others to grow by encouraging with the right legislation in place.
Encourage people to put capital
Exactly.
to work.
Yeah.
Because this is something that we do so poorly. I mean, I have a lot of friends, with some of them with millions, and they are doing the same two things: immobiliare, real estate.
Yeah, exactly.
And buying stocks from the big guys.
There are countries where you have tax deductions
and Bitcoin,
if you invest.
Bitcoin.
So if you invest in startups, in risky businesses, but in your environment, you pay less taxes.
Yeah, UK is doing, I think, one of the best jobs in Europe.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I think there is US in size of number of unicorns they were given, and I think UK is third place probably after China. So there are so many instruments that would make life easier for startups.
And they all are already tested by others. And some are like doing this for tens of years and they are working.
We've done that research in ROStartup. I mean, there is
we have the plan.
An entire manual. We have the plan, exactly. Someone has to read it.
Yeah.
What was the saying? RTFM? Read the fucking manual and you'll learn what to do, right?
Yep.
We make fun of serious things, but things are not that complicated.
We make fun of them because
makes us getting going on a daily basis, right?
Exactly. Vlad, I have one more question for you before closing. What's your crazy idea about Romania in 10 years?
It probably it's not that crazy, but I do believe we'll get to the point where we'll be focusing on verticals in the next 10 years. I do see happening this fact, having 3 new unicorns.
3 new unicorns.
Yeah. I do see the VC land to get more diversified with US investors coming here, even though right now when you tell them where you're coming from, it's hard to pinpoint on the map. But I believe a lot in the capacity of Romania to create founders and true innovators. I'm optimistic, in general, but here I'm not daydreaming. I'm considering this on the facts and on the progress we've seen in the last years. The way we came back after the COVID, how we worked together as an ecosystem during the pandemic time. And I always look to the experience of Daniel Dinesh. So we talk about resilience, perseverance, believing in yourself. So for 10 years, against the odds, he continued on a daily basis to work on his idea. The results were not necessarily showing that it's going in the right direction, but he kept going over there and kept building. I start seeing those founders more and more, and these are the founders that are not looking to get rich overnight or famous. They are the founders willing to get that solution to daylight. And I think right now, if before you had 1 per cohort, right now we have 80% per cohort. Relentless builders. We don't have drop-offs from our programs anymore. We have to let go out of the program because we are not satisfied with the energy and the time commitment. But I see a lot of progress, and I see this resilience that a founder should have. And also what was missing so far is to dream big and have that courage you mentioned earlier to make that possible at global level. So we came back from US. We had Radu Negulescu from Sessions. That crazy guy said, you know what, I'm not coming back to Romania. I'm staying here because I will launch my product here and it is going to grow. And you'll see the results just because of that mindset. You'll see soon the results of that. So we have these examples, and they're coming more and more. And I believe the growth rate we're having year on year, in 10 years, we'll be amazed about the changes that will happen here. We just need to be ready for it. Again, I'm optimistic. I believe in people, and I believe in Romanians. That's why I'm here. That's why I didn't stay in other countries. And I believe they have the power to rebuild themselves. I totally believe in the power of the environment around us, the power of regenerating. So I believe we are going to have a positive result in the end with on the climate change topic. And I also believe God is loving us and is doing a good job in guiding us towards the right track.
Vlad, thank you very much. Thank you for coming back to Romania. Thank you for inspiring a lot of entrepreneurs and other ecosystem builder, like I said. Finger crossed for everything you're doing at Rubik with ROStartup. And yeah, can't wait to see what the next 10 years will have for us.
Again, it's us at Rubik, but it's also us building the ecosystem. I came all the way here because of you. I'm proud what you do and what you do here in Oradea and what's happening in Oradea in the last years. It's another positive example that makes me be happy with the country I'm in. And it's validating what I just mentioned earlier, believing in people and their power to come together and build good things. So
thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.